Good morning, dear. After we discussed how to construct triangles if we have three sides or two sides and one angle or two angle and one side, now it's time to talk about particular lines inside a triangle. What are the particular lines that can be drawn in a triangle? During our lesson, I'm going to talk about median, height, bisector of an angle, and perpendicular bisector of a segment. Bisector and perpendicular bisector, you have an idea about them. Now, let's start with the perpendicular bisector. The perpendicular bisector of a segment is the perpendicular passing through the midpoint of this segment. And as we said in the previous lessons, the point of intersection of the three perpendicular bisectors, here this point, is the center of circle circumscribed about the triangle. We also have an idea about bisector of an angle. The bisector is a semi-line that cuts or divides the angle into two equal adjacent angles. Here, the orange line is the bisector of this green angle. Also, this semi-line is the bisector that divides this angle into two equal adjacent angles, and also this bisector. Okay? The intersection of the three bisectors in a triangle is the center of circle inscribed in the triangle. Inscribed means inside, while the intersection of perpendicular bisector is center of circle circumscribed. Circumscribed, it's around the triangle, passing through its vertices. The bisector of an angle, the intersection of the three bisectors of a triangle is the center of circle inscribed or drawn inside a triangle. Here, what we know about bisector and perpendicular bisector. Now, this green line here represents a median. What's a median? It's a segment that joins one of the vertices to the midpoint of the opposite side. Here, for example, here is the midpoint, since given the part that's before equals to the part that's after. This is midpoint. And since this segment issued from vertex towards the midpoint, then this is the first median of the triangle, and this is the second median because it passes from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side, and this is the third median. Now, we still have one idea to talk about. The height is a segment here drawn from the vertex perpendicular to the opposite side. Okay, so if it comes to the midpoint of the opposite side, it's called a median. If it's just perpendicular, it's a height. If it's perpendicular at the midpoint of the segment, then it will be the perpendicular bisector. Now we will see each one of them in details. What's a median? As we said, it's a segment that joins the vertex of a triangle to the midpoint of the opposite side. The opposite means the side that's facing the angle. Here, for example, ABC is a triangle. If you look well at the figure, it's given that BM equals to MC. How did I know that? They put the same sign on BM and MC. This means that BM equals to MC, and they are collinear points, so M is the midpoint of BC. And since AM is a segment issued from vertex A to the midpoint of the opposite side, then here AM is called a median of a triangle. It's median relative to BC. Okay? Here ABC is a triangle, M is the midpoint of BC, so of course I can say that BM equals to MC equal to half of BC. And AM is the median relative to BC. How did I know that it's a median? Simply because it's issued from the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. This definition here, you have to study it well. It's a segment that joins the vertex of a triangle to the midpoint of the opposite side. Okay? From the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side means that the drawn segment is a median. Now, ABC is a triangle. Here the one, ABC. And AM, as we said, it's median relative to BC. Okay? N is the midpoint of AB, so this is point N, and since N is midpoint of AB, so here CN, the segment issued from vertex C to point N, the midpoint of the opposite side, so CN is called the second median. It's relative to AB. And P here is the midpoint of AC, so BP is a segment issued from vertex B to the midpoint of the opposite side, which is AC, so also BP is called a median. The point of intersection of the three medians is called centroid or center of gravity of the triangle. Okay, I have to memorize well these words. The intersection of the median is center of gravity or centroid. Here is the centroid of the triangle. It's the point where the three median intersect with each other. Okay, since the three medians intersect at one point, they are concurrent. Okay, this point is point G, which is centroid or center of gravity of the triangle. It's the intersection of the median. You have to note that in an acute or obtuse triangle, the centroid is always inside the triangle. Okay, you have to notice as well. Here, for example, angle A is acute, ABC is acute, and ACB is acute. So I can clearly say that ABC is an acute triangle. So here, the intersection of the median or the centroid is always inside the triangle. Here the same. NMP is obtuse angle, so the triangle PMN is an obtuse triangle, and still the centroid is inside the triangle. How to draw a median? There are two ways to draw them, either by a ruler. We measure the side and then we divide this measure by 2 to get the midpoint. Then we join the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite in order to get a median. Look please with me at the figure. Here we have this segment. AB is 6 centimeters. Let's divide 6 by 2 to find its midpoint. What's the half of 6? It's 3. So this point here is the midpoint of AB. If I join the vertex C to the midpoint of AB, then this green line drawn here is called the median of the triangle. The other way is by drawing with compass. We draw the perpendicular bisector of the segment that cut this segment at its midpoint. For example, I'm going to draw here the perpendicular bisector of BC, okay, by drawing an arc above and below the segment and also from the other side. Then the intersection here of two arcs should be joined together to form the perpendicular bisector, and we know that perpendicular bisector passes through midpoint, so definitely E is the midpoint of BC. I think it's easier to measure by a ruler and find its half, but it's up to you. You can choose the way that you want. Now, if I join the vertex A to point E, which is midpoint of BC, then AE is the median relative to C. Let's practice together before giving you a homework. Given the following figure, if I look well at the figure, here we have triangle CAB. Given that CF equal FB, then F is midpoint of BC. CD equals to DA, then D midpoint of CA. And AE equal to EB, then E is midpoint of AB. And each one of the vertex is joined to the midpoint of the opposite side. So here CE is a median relative to AB, AF is a median relative to BC, and BD is a median relative to AC. And since P is the point of intersection of the three median, then P is called centroid or center of gravity. Okay, that's the given. That's how I read the figure. Now, what are the exercises, or what should I do here? I have to complete. ABC is triangle at A. This is angle BAC. As you notice, it's a right angle, so ABC is a right triangle at A. Now, CE. C is the vertex and E is the midpoint of AB. So, CE is a median relative to AB. Why? Since a median is a segment that joins the vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side. Now, since is the midpoint of BC, here is BC, the side BC. What is its midpoint? F, since given that CF equals to FB. So, since F is the midpoint of BC, then what's the median? Vertex A is joined here to point F, the midpoint of BC, then AF is a median relative to BC. Now part 4, since DA equals to DC, then D is what of AC? Since AD equal to DC, then D is the midpoint of AC. And BD, this segment issued from vertex B to the midpoint of AC, which is the opposite side of the angle CBA. So I can say that BD is the median relative to which line? AC. The three medians intersect at which point? Here at point P. So they are concurrent. Concurrent lines are lines that intersect at one point. Now, P is the intersection of the three medians, so it's centroid or center of gravity. Now, given the following figures, you have to complete and solve exercise 1 and 2 and hand in your work in the assignment. Thanks for your attention.